Keep from us all adversity, so that unhindered in mind and body alike, we may pursue in freedom of heart the things that are yours. It's the heart of the message from this morning's opening prayer. And for me, it was really the heart of the message for all of today's readings and psalm and gospel. We all know that sometimes adversity comes into our lives. And when we are facing that adversity, putting it aside or giving it to God isn't always easy. I might even say that in the times in my life, certainly, when I was facing adversity, giving it to God was a very, very hard thing to do, and still is every time it happens. I say this because when I'm facing adversity, to give it to God means I have to let go of control and trust that God's plan, a plan that I promise you He has never communicated with me, but a plan nonetheless, will lead to a better result than anything I could ever come up with. And I know I've said this many times in the past, but in today's psalm and readings and gospel, we're given a very simple rule to live by. We're given the rule to believe and to trust in God. And we further go on to understand or to hear that when we do believe and trust and give it to God, our lives get easier. Our lives are always better when we do that. But that led me to a different question. That led me to ask myself, do I live by the rules that He has given me? Could or would any, many, or even most of us do the things that God asks of His people in these passages? In the first reading from the book of Kings, Elijah asks a widow for a small bit of water and bread. And she gave it to him, knowing that she was giving Elijah a portion of what she honestly believed was going to be hers and her son's last meal before they died. But she gave Elijah the water and the bread because she believed that sharing from her sustenance, from her poverty, God would take care of her and she wouldn't starve. And she didn't, because God did take care of her. Then in the gospel, we have the story of the poor widow who gives to the treasury all that she had. Imagine for a second being in a position where you had nothing else, but you still gave it to God. In each of these instances, we see people doing work and doing what I think most of us living here in the capital region in 2021 might consider imprudent or not making smart decisions. And they both did it simply because they believed and they trusted in God. In these passages, we see people who believed and trusted in God with all of their heart, their mind, with all of their being. And they were rewarded for that belief. With the evidence that we are shown that by believing and trusting in God, He will reward us in ways that we can't possibly imagine, the question that comes to mind is that for those of us blessed to be living where and how we live, do we give all we have to the Lord? And please don't misunderstand me. I recognize that we are blessed and that many do give from their excess. And through that giving, we, the church, are able to do some pretty amazing things. Amazing things that I'm sure please God. We can feed the hungry. We can help captives be set free. We can protect strangers. But the question that kept coming back to me, keeping me awake this week, was what more can I do? Can I give more of myself to God? And I guess the question that I was really asking myself is, do I truly believe and trust in God? Or might my life, might any of our lives, be easier and more prosperous if we give more of ourselves to God? How will we be rewarded when we do let go and allow His plan to work in our lives? As I said, once again, in the gospel and the readings and in the psalm, we have a simple instruction and plenty of evidence that if we follow it, will result in a better, easier, more prosperous life. A simple instruction that if we follow it, will allow each of us to pursue in freedom of heart the things that are God's. But once again, a simple instruction that in our humanness is very, very hard to follow.